Hi everyone, welcome back again and thanks for joining me. And also welcome to the week before Christmas. I don't know about you, but I'm finding it a little bit difficult to get everything done that I need to do. And the topic that we're talking about this week kind of goes along with this time of year. It's all about change. And change always happens, you know, when we're younger. Our childhood is one thing, then we get grow up, maybe we have kids, and that's different, and then the kids grow up and they leave, and so change is always happening, and sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Some of us do better than others with it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The name of the blog is called Change. Do we embrace it or resist it? Many of us believe that almost nothing in this life remains the same for the duration of our time here. Is this true? Well, yes and no. It is true that almost everything in the physical world will change, fall away, be lost, or die. That's the nature of the physical experience, and that is really one of the main reasons why our soul chooses to come here. We chose to experience an existence that is impermanent and mortal. We chose to embrace the emotions and feelings that are part of our lives on the earth plane. And as hard as this is to believe, our souls also chose to endure hardship, adversities, and challenges. Why? Well, it's because within each of our difficulties is a gift or a lesson for our souls. We can evolve much more quickly as a soul here than we can on the other side, where all of those kinds of things are non-existent. We do continue to evolve in the spirit world, just more slowly. The physical part of who we are does indeed change. That's a fact. However, the one thing that will never change during our tenure here is that the soul will infinitely remain a being of divine light and love, no matter how the ego tries to tell us otherwise. It will mature and evolve, but its infinite nature created by God will never change. I'd like just to pose a few questions to everyone, and maybe we can take some time to think about them, and perhaps it might be beneficial to write our thoughts down in a journal. I know that helps me a lot. So here's the questions. What does the word change make us feel? What emotions come up for us? Have the changes in our lives come easily, or have we resisted them? Do we spend nights and days worrying about or fearing changes that may or may not happen? Whatever our responses to those questions are, they are neither right nor wrong. If we embrace change, perhaps we are here to assist others in learning to accept changes that will inevitably come up. If we resist it, accepting change is most likely a lesson our soul came here to learn. If we answered yes to the final question about worry and fear, it's important to bring up once again that fear and worry about possible changes are prayers for what we don't want. We're affirming something that we don't want to come into our lives, but that's, as we all know, the law of attraction is engaged at all times. What we think about, we attract into our lives, both the perceived good and the perceived bad. So we also know that it is important to keep our thoughts, words, and actions as positive as possible, even in the midst of difficult and unwanted changes. This can be a real challenge, as I have experienced in my life. I must admit that change, it's not easy for me. It is definitely something I came here to work on. When I am present and I am conscious and aware that life is like an ever-flowing river carrying me along on my journey, I accept change much more easily. Thus, I understand that wherever I find myself is where I need to be, and I am able to flow with the changes, knowing that they have purpose and they benefit the evolution of my soul, even when I don't like it. When my snarky, fearful ego tries to frighten me, pushing me to resist, and I falter, change kind of feels like a ferocious tornado that keeps following and finding me no matter how fast I run from it. We can't guarantee that a particular dreaded circumstance will not show up in our lives, especially if it was a sacred contract predetermined and necessary for our soul's growth. However, we also must remember that we have the gift of free will, and we can choose our thoughts and hence alter the direction of our lives. If we want a certain person, like a love relationship or a thing like a new car or house, to show up in our life, we have to do the manifestation work to allow it into our lives as quickly as possible. However, once we do the work, we pray the prayer, it's important, this is really important, it's important to release the outcome to God and to the divine design for our lives. Sometimes what we think we want and what we believe will bring us happiness and peace may not be what we need in order for our soul to evolve and grow. So the ego's influence can get in there and think that this will make us happy, but when actuality something else is more important for us in order to stay on purpose. The greatest challenge for me has been when I do the work and I still find the opposite of what I have affirmed, like perfect health or healing my marriage, the opposite shows up instead. So I affirmed I am healthy and strong, and then a life-threatening illness overcame me, but in the end, it also taught me to release fear and choose love. I prayed many years ago, "Dear God, please heal my relationship with my husband and save my marriage." And a contentious divorce and custody battle followed. Though painful and devastating, it helped me remember the kind and loving soul that I infinitely am. I discovered how brave, beautiful, and wise I am. It is in times such as these I have learned that we need to call on our faith, stay connected to gratitude and joy, and then turn up the hope gauge in our hearts. Most importantly, we need to trust that there is a higher purpose at work in our lives, always. The purpose is our divine design that we enacted when we, along with our team of light, set into motion the life we are now living. We are here because we have work to do, lessons to learn, and gifts we want to share with others and the world. No one else can do what we can do. We need to trust ourselves and believe in our beauty, magnificence, and our light. From a purely human perspective, the changes that are most primal and inevitable are that we're born, we age, and we eventually die. Some of us will die young, some will live a long life and die of old age. So far, none of us have found the fountain of youth, and I'm really not sure that any of us would really want that anyway. Other things that change are that some people will come and go quickly in our lives, and some people will remain at least for a little while, or some for a long time. Material possessions may wear out, be lost, taken away, or become no longer relevant in our lives, and we must let them go. Roles we play here, like mother, father, son, daughter, husband, wife, employee, or boss, will most likely eventually fall away the longer we live. Life in the physical mortal world is filled with loss. This is something that none of us can escape. All of the above changes that we just talked about are simply tools that our soul uses during this incarnation to accomplish its intended goals. They do not define who we infinitely are. In this life, we may be wealthy, powerful, and strong. In another, we may experience poverty, victimization, or poor health. We can certainly do our best to improve our circumstances and our lives, yet if things do not change the way we want them to, our only productive choice is to accept life as it comes to us and never give up. No matter where we are and how much change blows into our lives and disrupts our status quo, we are still called to shine our light. We're still asked to love in any way that we can, from our tiny, seemingly obscure place in the world, or our powerful pulpit or platform. After all, the one thing that is eternal, infinite, and unchanging, of course, is the love that we are. That is our strength, that is our beauty, our grace, and our divinity. That is our immortal soul, and it can shine brighter and more beautiful than the aurora borealis glowing against the dark night sky. So, let us shine brilliantly. Let us flow with the river of life as it twists and turns. Let us never lose hope. Hold fast to faith and never forget to be the love and peace we wish to see in the world. We totally got this. So I hope you enjoy that. It was a great one for me to write and to think about, because things are changing a lot. Those of you who get the newsletter will see in the greeting how this Christmas for me is very different, and it's been hard for me to navigate that, but I have to accept that things are just not gonna be what they were, and I have to let go and go with it. And most of the time when you do that anyway, you find, wow, what was I resisting for anyway? Because look at this beautiful experience I never would have had if I didn't let go of what was and accept what could be. New beginnings and a whole different experience. So anyway, I hope everyone enjoys the final week before Christmas, and just this whole season, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. It's the season of joy and hope and peace and celebration. So let's all be good to each other. And one last thought too, let's try and think about those people who just went through that terrible, devastating tornado, storms, many of them, I think that 30. It was terrible, so much loss and devastation. So besides our prayers and our thoughts and sending our energy to them to wrap around them and hold them close, if there's any way that we can help by donating or helping them to rebuild their lives, maybe this is the season to really open our hearts and our wallets, if we can, and help. So thank you for joining me again, and I hope everyone has a great day. Namaste.